As the Civil War raged on in early 1862, attention shifted to the Western Theater, where the Union sought to gain control of vital rivers and supply lines. Among the key objectives was Fort Donelson, a heavily fortified Confederate position on the Cumberland River in Tennessee. Capturing the fort would open a critical pathway for Union forces into the heart of the South and strike a severe blow to Confederate defenses. What unfolded in February 1862 was a dramatic and pivotal battle that reshaped the trajectory of the war in the Western Theater, showcasing the evolving strategies and brutal realities of the conflict. The Union's campaign in the West was led by Brigadier General Ulysses S. Grant, a relatively unknown commander at the time. Grant had already achieved a significant victory at Fort Henry on the Tennessee River, just days before turning his attention to Fort Donelson. Unlike Fort Henry, which fell with minimal resistance, Fort Donelson promised to be a much tougher challenge. The Confederate garrison there was well prepared, boasting strong defensive earthworks, artillery, and a force of approximately 16,000 soldiers. The stakes were enormous. Whoever controlled Fort Donelson would gain a strategic foothold in the region. On February 12th, Grant's forces, numbering about 25,000 troops, began their approach to Fort Donelson. The Union Navy, under Flag Officer Andrew Hull Foote, supported the effort with a flotilla of gunboats on the Cumberland River. This combined arms approach demonstrated a growing sophistication in Union strategy. The stage was set for a major confrontation, with both sides fully aware of the high stakes. Grant's strategy was straightforward but ambitious: surround the fort and cut off Confederate escape routes. Over the next 2 days, Union troops encircled the fort, enduring harsh winter conditions that tested the resolve of even the most seasoned soldiers. Snow and freezing rain blanketed the battlefield, creating a nightmarish environment. Many Union troops, lacking adequate winter clothing, suffered from exposure. Still, they pressed forward, digging trenches and preparing for a prolonged siege. On February 14th, Foote's gunboats launched an aggressive assault on the fort's riverfront defenses. Confederate artillery, however, proved formidable, inflicting heavy damage on the Union flotilla and forcing its withdrawal. This setback demonstrated the resilience of the Confederate defenders and underscored the challenges Grant faced. Despite this, Grant's ground forces tightened their grip, pushing closer to the fort and preparing for a decisive assault. On February 15th, the Confederate commanders at Fort Donelson, including Generals John B. Floyd, Gideon Pillow, and Simon Bolivar Buckner, launched a bold counterattack. Their aim was to break through the Union lines and secure an escape route for their beleaguered forces. Initially, the Confederate assault gained ground, forcing some Union units to retreat. Panic threatened to spread through the Union ranks, but Grant's calm and decisive leadership turned the tide. Recognizing that the Confederates had overextended themselves, Grant ordered a counteroffensive that regained lost ground and further tightened the noose around the fort. The failed Confederate breakout attempt left their forces demoralized and disorganized. By nightfall, it became clear to the Confederate leadership that further resistance was futile. Generals Floyd and Pillow, unwilling to face the humiliation of capture, fled the fort under cover of darkness. Their departure left Buckner, who had remained behind to manage the defenses, to negotiate surrender terms with Grant. On the morning of February 16th, Buckner sent a message to Grant requesting terms of surrender. Grant's reply was terse and uncompromising. No terms except an unconditional and immediate surrender can be accepted. I propose to move immediately upon your works. Buckner, Recognizing the hopelessness of his situation and lacking support from his fellow commanders, reluctantly agreed. The fall of Fort Donelson marked a stunning victory for the Union. Grant's demand for unconditional surrender earned him the nickname Unconditional Surrender Grant, a moniker that would follow him for the rest of his military career. The Union captured approximately 13,000 Confederate soldiers, along with valuable artillery and supplies. This decisive victory sent shockwaves through the Confederacy and boosted Union morale. The capture of Fort Donelson was a turning point in the Western theater. It opened the Cumberland River as a pathway for Union forces, enabling deeper incursions into Tennessee and the Confederacy. The victory also elevated Grant's reputation, bringing him to the attention of President Abraham Lincoln and setting the stage for his eventual rise to command the entire Union Army. The success at Fort Donelson solidified Grant's reputation as a bold and determined leader, qualities that would define his approach throughout the war. For the Confederacy, the loss of Fort Donelson was a significant blow. It forced the evacuation of Nashville, Tennessee, a vital industrial and transportation hub. Nashville became the first Confederate state capital to fall to Union forces, dealing a severe psychological blow to Southern morale. The defeat also underscored the challenges the Confederacy faced in defending its vast territory against a well-coordinated Union campaign. The loss of resources, manpower, and strategic position at Fort Donelson was a setback from which the Confederacy would struggle to recover. The Battle of Fort Donelson demonstrated the importance of decisive leadership, coordination, and perseverance. It also highlighted the evolving nature of the Civil War, as Union forces began to exploit their advantages in manpower, resources, and strategic planning. For the soldiers who endured the bitter cold and ferocious fighting, the victory at Fort Donelson was a testament to their resilience and determination. The battle also signaled a shift in momentum, with the Union beginning to assert itself more aggressively in the Western theater. As the war continued, the lessons learned at Fort Donelson would shape the strategies and outcomes of future battles. In the next episode, we will explore the daring and unconventional naval operations that unfolded on the Mississippi River, where control of America's great waterways became a critical objective for both the Union and the Confederacy.